greetings. If there's one thing you should know about a Sigma male, it's this. He's not the type to make a big scene or constantly call people out. But don't mistake his silence for ignorance. A Sigma never overlooks disrespect, manipulation, or passive aggression. Not because he wants to start drama, but because he knows one overlooked offense leads to another. And before long, people start testing his boundaries like it's a game. The Sigma understands human psychology better than most. He knows that when you allow one person to cross a line, others will follow suit like clockwork. It doesn't matter if you're his friend, co-worker, or even a romantic partner. Once you disrespect a Sigma's values or personal code, the connection begins to unravel. Sigmas have an internal compass that doesn't allow them to tolerate certain behaviors, no matter who it's coming from. This isn't about pride or ego, it's about principle. They live by a set of rules that prioritize self-respect, mental peace, and independence. And once you break those rules, it's not just a personal offense, it's a breach of the trust that the Sigma rarely gives in the first place. People often mistake Sigma males as loners or cold-hearted individuals, but in reality, they're some of the most calculated and self-aware people you'll ever meet. Their emotional distance isn't detachment, it's discipline. They've learned through experience and observation that tolerance for toxic behavior is a fast track to chaos. They don't just talk about boundaries, them with quiet confidence and no need for explanation. So if you find yourself in the company of a Sigma and want to stay there, know this. Respect is not optional. It's the currency of connection in his world. Coming up next, we're diving into the 8 specific things Sigma males will never tolerate from anyone. Stay tuned. Number 1. Fake respect and forced politeness. Here's the thing, a Sigma male doesn't need a smile if it's hiding a knife. He doesn't care for polished politeness that conceals a hidden agenda. In fact, he'd rather be hit with the raw truth than be coddled by sugar-coated deception. That's because Sigmas thrive on clarity, not comfort. They operate in a realm where words must carry the weight of truth, not just the melody of charm. In a world addicted to superficial pleasantries and social masks, Sigma males are a rare breed who instinctively detect what's real and what's rehearsed. They're naturally equipped with a sharp BS detector, an almost uncanny ability to read between the lines. Psychology refers to this as high social intelligence, particularly in the form of cognitive empathy. Unlike emotional empathy, which makes one feel others' emotions, cognitive empathy allows a person to understand the motives and intentions behind someone's actions. Sigmas don't just hear what you say, they observe how you say it, watch what you do, and notice whether those two things line up. If your actions contradict your words, he won't confront you with drama or create a scene, he'll simply detach. Quietly, permanently, that's the Sigma way. People pleasers and overcharmers rarely survive long in a Sigma's orbit. Why? Because the constant need for validation and approval disrupts the natural independence that defines a Sigma's world. Sigmas don't care if you like them, they care if you respect them. And respect, in their book, is never handed out for free. It must be earned through integrity and consistency. Courtesy that's just performance doesn't impress them, it irritates them. You can be imperfect, messy, even disagreeable. But as long as you're real, a Sigma will respect you for it. What truly turns a Sigma off is inauthenticity. Fake laughs, forced compliments, manipulative friendliness, these are like static noise to his frequency. He doesn't expect perfection, he expects sincerity. That's why Sigmas are often drawn to people who are unapologetically themselves. Even if you're blunt or rough around the edges, your honesty is refreshing. But once he senses you're wearing a mask, you're already fading into the background. To a Sigma male, authenticity isn't optional. It's the only language he speaks. Number 2, drama and gossip. If you ever want to see a Sigma vanish like Houdini, start talking about what Sarah said about Mike, who cheated on Lisa with Karen. That's the fastest way to lose him, because Sigmas don't do soap operas. They don't get tangled in emotional theatrics or the swirling vortex of gossip that keeps so many people mentally exhausted and emotionally spent. To a Sigma male, drama is the equivalent of junk food for the soul. It's fast, it's tempting, and it provides a short burst of excitement. But in the end, it leaves you sluggish, empty, and spiritually undernourished. Sigmas thrive on peace and clarity. They've learned that feeding off chaos doesn't just kill productivity, it warps your perception and drains your focus. While the average person may find gossip entertaining or even a way to bond socially, Sigmas see it for what it truly is, a distraction from purpose. Research even backs this up. Constant exposure to social drama has been linked to increased stress, anxiety, and even lower self-esteem. Sigmas are wired to protect their inner energy from that nonsense. They know that every minute spent dissecting someone else's messy life is a minute stolen from their own goals, dreams, and mental clarity. These men are builders of ideas, businesses, skills, and personal growth. Their minds are constantly occupied with the question, how can I improve this? Whether it's themselves, their craft, or the world around them, they're locked into a mindset of elevation, not degradation. So if someone brings drama to the table, a Sigma will quietly excuse himself. No confrontation, no explanation, just silence. Because in his world, time is sacred and peace is non-negotiable. You'll never catch a Sigma choosing gossip over growth or pettiness over purpose. If your life runs on chaos, attention-seeking, and who said what to whom, don't expect him to sit through the show. He's already left the theater. Number 3, manipulation, emotional blackmail, guilt trips, passive-aggressive games. These are manipulation tactics often used to gain control in relationships, whether romantic, professional, or social. But try pulling any of that on a Sigma male and you'll quickly find yourself talking to empty space. Sigmas are masters of silent exits. You won't get drama, confrontation, or a long-winded explanation, just their sudden and complete disappearance. That's not arrogance, it's self-respect. See, Sigma males are lone wolves by nature. They're not looking to be saved or soothed. They're not clinging to relationships for validation or security. Unlike those who dread solitude, Sigmas actually recharge in it. That's their edge. Emotional manipulation thrives on dependency, on someone needing approval, affection, or reassurance so badly that they'll tolerate mistreatment to keep the peace. But a Sigma, he's already at peace on his own, so if you try to play mind games with him, he simply opts out. No fuss, no warning, just gone. It's not that Sigmas are cold or heartless, quite the opposite. They often care deeply, but their self-worth isn't tied to others' behavior. They've learned that arguing with manipulative people only fuels the fire. Instead of reacting, they remove themselves. This mindset is backed by psychology too. Studies show that emotionally intelligent individuals, those with high self-awareness and self-regulation, are far less likely to be swayed by guilt or gaslighting. Sigma males embody that emotional intelligence. They see through the smokescreen, recognize the patterns, and don't stick around for round 2. What really sets them apart is their ability to detach with dignity. They don't retaliate. They don't try to out-manipulate the manipulator. They just walk away, leaving behind a powerful message, I choose peace over drama. That's their strength. In a world where many are pulled into toxic dynamics out of fear of being alone, the Sigma male's solitude is his superpower. Try to control him, and you'll find he's already 10 steps ahead, moving in silence, unmoved by guilt, and untouchable by games. Number 4, lack of boundaries. Call him cold, call him distant, call him mysterious. But here's the truth. The Sigma male has walls, not fences, and you don't get in unless you're invited. He doesn't build these walls to push people away out of arrogance or superiority. He builds them because solitude is his sanctuary, and peace is a currency he refuses to waste. To outsiders, this might seem harsh, even unfriendly, but what they fail to realize is that the Sigma male isn't interested in small talk, emotional manipulation, or performative relationships. He values depth, honesty, and autonomy, and anyone who threatens that equilibrium is met with the quiet force of his boundaries. He guards his time, energy, and peace like it's sacred. Why? Because it is. In a world that thrives on noise, validation, and overstimulation, the Sigma male retreats inward. Psychological studies show that introverted personality types, particularly those resembling the Sigma archetype, require extended alone time to recharge and function at their best. This isn't some trendy self-care ritual, it's a neurological necessity. When people invade his space without permission, constantly demand his presence, or refuse to acknowledge his need for independence, he doesn't argue or lash out. He disappears, not out of spite, but self-preservation. If you constantly barge into his life, demand attention, overstep limits, or ignore his no, expect to meet his silence. Not the cold shoulder kind of silence, but the kind that comes with doors quietly shutting and locks clicking into place. It's not personal, it's principle. The Sigma male doesn't beg to be understood. He doesn't chase validation, and he certainly doesn't entertain chaos disguised as closeness. His silence is his final answer. Boundaries aren't optional, they're survival. In a world that rarely respects the need for space or individuality, the Sigma male has learned that drawing the line isn't just about protecting himself, it's about preserving his ability to think, create, and live on his own terms. You either respect that, or you find yourself on the other side of his wall, wondering why he vanished without a word. The truth is, he didn't vanish. He simply chose peace over pressure and clarity over confusion. That's not cold, that's controlled. Number 5, neediness and emotional dependency. Let's be honest, Sigma males aren't babysitters for fragile egos. They aren't wired to cater to constant emotional maintenance or the exhausting tug-of-war of neediness. For a Sigma, energy is sacred. Every interaction is a transaction, and when it comes to emotional energy, they don't spend it where there's no return. Clinginess, codependency, or emotional meltdowns over an unread text. That's like trying to plug a USB into a stone wall. It just doesn't connect. Now, don't mistake this for cold-heartedness. Sigma males absolutely care. In fact, when they connect, it's deeply authentic. But their love language isn't constant validation. They thrive in relationships that operate on mutual respect and emotional independence. It's not about being distant, it's about choosing depth over drama. And this mindset is backed by psychological science too. Studies in attachment theory show that secure individuals value autonomy while still forming strong, meaningful bonds. That's exactly the Sigma's lane. Sigma males are deeply drawn to strength, specifically the kind that comes from within. They admire people who are self-reliant, those who carry themselves with quiet confidence and navigate life without needing a spotlight or applause. Resilience is attractive. Emotional maturity is magnetic. If you fall apart every time they need space, or if your world collapses when a text goes unanswered for an hour, they're going to quietly slip away. You see, Sigmas are minimalists when it comes to relationships, not in terms of affection, but in terms of emotional chaos. They don't want a partner who constantly needs to be rescued. They want someone who can hold their own, who can communicate with honesty but not desperation. There's beauty in being real and raw, in expressing yourself authentically. But when that honesty turns into constant emotional neediness, it becomes an expense the Sigma male isn't willing to carry. Their mindset is simple. They're building a peaceful, purposeful life. If your presence brings peace, you're welcome. But if it brings pressure, you'll find yourself watching them walk away silently and without explanation. Because to a Sigma, peace isn't negotiable. Number 6, groupthink and herd mentality. Here's something that rattles a Sigma to his core: blind conformity. To a Sigma male, the idea of following the herd without thought or reason is not just uncomfortable, it's unacceptable. In a world where most people are wired to seek approval, blend in, and follow trends for the sake of social acceptance, the Sigma male operates like a lone wolf who listens to a different frequency altogether. He's not driven by what's popular. He's driven by what's true. While others nod along just to avoid conflict or to gain favor, the Sigma remains unmoved, even if it means standing alone. He questions the system. He interrogates the norms. He challenges the status quo. And if something doesn't sit right with his internal compass, he doesn't just disagree silently. He quietly withdraws and redirects his energy toward a more authentic path. When society says fit in, the Sigma doesn't just ignore it. He pauses and asks, why? That question, simple as it seems, is the bedrock of his individuality. He's not being difficult for the sake of rebellion. He's being honest. Sigmas don't adopt belief systems because they're convenient. They don't jump on bandwagons or follow fashion trends just to look cool. Instead, they filter everything through a rigorous inner lens. If it doesn't resonate with their core values, they simply won't fake it. And this isn't just about being different, it's about being real. This kind of mindset has historical roots. Some of the world's most influential thinkers, inventors, and revolutionaries embodied the Sigma spirit. From Nikola Tesla, who defied mainstream science, to Steve Jobs, who literally coined the slogan, "Think different," these men didn't conform, they transformed. What makes the Sigma male dangerous to the system is not aggression or ego, it's clarity. He sees through the noise, he doesn't crave attention, but his quiet confidence and refusal to bow to trends make him magnetic. In a world of filters and facades, his authenticity is rare and unsettling to many. So when you see someone who stands apart, questions everything, and refuses to follow blindly, you might be witnessing the Sigma at work. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to prove. He just lives the truth, and that alone is enough to shake the world. Number 7, disrespect. Sigmas may be silent, but they're not spineless. Behind that calm exterior lies an iron will and a deeply rooted principle. Respect is non-negotiable. For Sigma males, it's not about ego or dominance, it's about self-worth. They know their value, and they've worked hard to cultivate a sense of identity that doesn't rely on validation from others. That's why respect isn't something they hope for in a relationship, it's the foundation. Without it, there's no trust, no connection, and certainly no reason to stay. You can disagree with a Sigma male. In fact, he welcomes thoughtful debate. Intellectual stimulation is one of the rare things that actually engages him. He's not intimidated by being challenged, he thrives on it. But there's a hard boundary between disagreement and disrespect. The moment someone crosses that invisible line, whether through condescension, manipulation, or outright insult, the switch flips. And here's where Sigma males differ from others. They don't raise their voice. They don't go to war, they simply vanish. This reaction isn't passive-aggressive, it's strategic. Sigmas are highly self-aware and emotionally disciplined. Psychologically, this is known as strategic withdrawal, a conscious decision to remove oneself from toxic environments rather than engaging in destructive behavior. It's not a weakness, it's self-preservation. While others might waste time arguing or seeking closure, a Sigma cuts the cord instantly. Like a shadow dissolving into the night, he exits with no announcement, no drama, and no second chances. Why does he never come back? Because returning would mean compromising his boundaries. Sigmas live by an internal code that values solitude over chaos, peace over ego, and growth over validation. Once disrespected, trust is shattered beyond repair. Studies in social psychology confirm that individuals with high self-respect are less likely to tolerate repeated offenses. And Sigmas are the epitome of that principle. In a world obsessed with noise, Sigma males move with quiet power. They don't need the last word. They don't need to prove a point. Their absence is the message. And those who once took their silence for weakness soon realize they were in the presence of someone who demanded respect without ever having to ask for it. Number 8, control. You want to lose a Sigma, try to own him, micromanage him, tell him who to be, what to wear, how to act, and who to love. You'll lose him in an instant. That's not drama, that's biology. Sigma males are wired for independence. They don't just value freedom, they breathe it. It's as essential to them as air. The moment they sense a leash, they disappear like smoke in the wind. You can't own what refuses to be possessed. Sigmas were born allergic to cages. This isn't just poetic language, it reflects a real psychological pattern rooted in high levels of self-determination and autonomy. Studies on personality types often associate these traits with introverted, non-conforming individuals who are deeply driven by internal goals rather than external validation. They're not trying to be rebellious, they're just built differently. Whether it's a relationship, a job, a social group, or even pressure from family, Sigma males instinctively recoil from anything that feels like control. And here's the thing, Sigmas don't equate love with obedience. They equate love with respect for their space, their mind, and their mission. Tell a Sigma who to be, and you're no longer a partner. You've become a warden. Try to mold him into someone else, and you'll find yourself talking to his back as he walks away. You see, Sigmas seek freedom, not comfort. While others chase security, acceptance, or approval, Sigmas chase purpose and liberty. And if they have to choose between being accepted or being free, they choose freedom. Every time. Not out of pride, but out of principle. They know that compromise on core identity is a slow death of the soul. So if you want to lose a Sigma, control him. But if you want to keep one, understand this. He's not looking for someone to complete him. He's looking for someone who won't try to change him. Sigmas live by a silent code. It's not written, it's lived. They don't waste words, they don't fake feelings, they don't tolerate nonsense. And that's what makes them powerful. If you're tired of playing the social game, of tolerating less than you deserve, of being someone you're not, maybe you've got a Sigma inside you waiting to rise. So start setting your boundaries. Walk away from what drains you. Be unapologetically authentic. Because power begins where tolerance ends. Sigmas, if this resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and become part of a community that values depth over noise, strength over show, and freedom over fitting in. Let's keep growing. Let's keep rising. Stay safe and stay Sigma.